Hi guys, today we're gonna look into the racial profiling by police in United States. Most of you guys know if you're black, you're twice as likely to be stopped by police than if you're white. No one ever challenged this question, so today we're gonna look into actual police database and try to figure out by ourselves what's going on there. And the most important question we're gonna answer today, which states are more racist? Red or blue? But before we start an actual science, let's try to challenge this statement. Is it always a racial profiling when blacks are being stopped more often than whites? Maybe blacks are doing more violation than white people. Let me give you an example. If you're under 12, you're way less likely to be stopped by police than if you're in your 20s. It doesn't mean we have any special age profiling. It just simply means that people in their 20s committing more offenses because they have cars, they can walk freely. Now you're gonna tell me that most of black people are not committing any offense, but just being stopped by police for no reason. It's completely not okay, and I totally agree with you. Instead of measuring an overall number of black and white people being stopped by police, let's measure the percentage of people who got fined among those who were stopped. Let me explain you by example. Let's say you have 1,000 white guys being stopped and 500 of them got a citation. Another 500 got a warning. That means that we have a 50% citation rate. Now, if in the same time you got stopped 2,000 black people and 1,000 of them got fined, it means the same 50% fine rate, which looks fair to me. So what is not fair? Let's say we have the same 2,000 black guys being stopped, but only 400 of them got fined, which means the citation rate is 20%. And this suggests racial profiling. Basically, policemen assume that every black man is criminal and they stop all of them, and then only 20% actually are. Now we can look to the actual data. There is a great database called openpolicing.stanford.edu. Basically, it contains a description for every single stop within a certain city in US. Basically, each row here corresponds to one stop, and we're going to look to the following fields. First, race, whether it's black or white. Second, outcome, whether it's citation, warning, arrest, or not available. And in some of these databases, you also have a reason for stop, which can be very insightful for our analysis. Let me be clear, these all databases are basically pure data. They are not left or right biased. For my analysis, I'm going to use a tool called R. This is an open source tool, and if you have some mathematical background, you can use it as well. If you don't have mathematical background, basically it's a tool which allows you to answer certain questions. For example, how many black people were cited or how many white people got arrested. Alright, let's do some real science. Since our goal is to find racism, let's try with some city which looks more racist. How about Nashville, Tennessee? This is an ex-Confederate pro-Trump state with a Republican governor. Here is our database. Basically, they collected 3 million of cases from 2010 to 2019. Let's see how many black and white people got stopped overall. Black people 1,165,000 and white people 1,670,000. Okay, white people got cited more often, but you probably know there are more white people in Nashville, Tennessee than black one. The actual distribution, you have 27% of black people and 63% of white people. If you use some simple math, you can conclude that black people are being stopped 1.6 times more often than white ones. But as we know, this might not be a sign for racial profiling. Let's look at the actual citation rates. 21% of white people who got stopped got a citation. What about black people? What's your guess? Probably 10% or maybe even 5%, because every black man is a criminal, right? Oh, it's 20%. Basically, white and black people are being cited within the same rates? This looks pretty fair to me. I haven't expected that result. But we are the scientists, so let's be skeptical. How about the rates of arrest? So 2.3% of black people who got stopped were actually arrested. And for white people, it's 1.1%. And we can clearly see that black people are being arrested twice as much as white ones. That looks unfair. Let's try not to jump to any conclusion yet and try to explore some more data. Let's compare the reasons of stop between blacks and white. As you can see, the most common reason is moving traffic violation, the next common reason is vehicle equipment violation, and the reason looks the same, but the percentage is slightly different. Let's look into some specific reasons of stop and see maybe we have some discriminations inside those reasons. Let's look at the most common reason, which is a moving traffic violation. Basically, these are speeding related things. For example, in some countries like Russia, if you're a woman and you got stopped for speeding, policemen might be very nice to you and just give you a warning fine instead of a citation. It's quite an expected outcome for sexist countries like Russia. And since United States is a racist country, maybe we have the same type of outcome between black and white people. So let's look at the data. The percentage of white guys who got stopped under moving traffic violation is 31%. Black guys, 28%. Which looks fair again, so my theory was wrong. Let's look at the rest. Black guys 2%, white guys 1%. Again, 2 times difference. Something is strange. Let's check another one. Vehicle equipment violation, like probably some expired registration, this kind of stuff. White people 9.4%, black people 12%. It looks like black people are being charged a little bit more than the white ones, but the most important, the percentage of unnecessary stops among white and black people are pretty much equal. So again, it's more or less fair. Arrest, same situation, 2% against 0.9%. The most controversial reason for stop here is probably investigative stop. This can be anything. Policemen can just came to you and say, hey, I'm doing some investigation, I need to check your documents, whatever. So maybe here we can clearly see some racial bias. What about citation? White people 17%, black people 20%. Okay, which is pretty much the same. Arrests, black people 8.4, white 7.7. This is something new. In case of investigative stop, the ratio of arrests between whites and black is actually the same. Let's think about this later and do a cross-check with another good racist place, which is Charlotte, North Carolina. This is ex-Confederate swing state. Here they have 1.5 million of stops, or we can look at the number of black and white people being stopped. Doing the same simple math, again, we can say that black people are 1.7 times more likely to be stopped than white people. But again, let's look at the ratio of citation. Whites 56, blacks 51. These rates are very different from the previous example, but they look fair. Arrest, same situation. Blacks 3.9, whites 2.3. Let's look at the citation rates per reason of stop. Here we have speed violation, and as you can see, blacks and white 74%, which is equal. Arrests, same picture, 2x difference. Vehicle registration violation. Citation, same fair picture. Arrests, 2x difference. And the last reason of stop, investigation, which is supposed to be the most controversial. And again, citation, fair. For arrests, it's a little bit different. It's 14% black people, 10% white people. It's not as fair as in case of Nashville, but still not 2x. Let's do some intermediate conclusions. It looks like whites and blacks are being stopped without issuing ticket equally often. In the same time, blacks commit 60 to 70% more violations than white folks. Arrest outcome is 2x more probable if you're black than if you're white. And this needs some explanation. Keep in mind, we are not talking about serious crimes. It's mostly about speeding, expired registration, those kind of simple, non-violent things. Nothing like murders or robberies. Why would a policeman arrest someone? First, gross violation of the law. For example, you're going 100 miles in 40-mile zone. This reason is unlikely to explain this 2x difference in arrest, because if it was true, you would have seen the same 2x difference in citation ratio. Second option, officer is a racist. This is quite unlikely as well. If he was a racist, we would have seen a different proportion of citation between whites and blacks, and we don't see it. And the third option, person behaves violently and hostile against police. Now you have Black Lives Matter, and lots of black people assume that if police stop them, it's completely unjust and it's basically a racial profiling all the time. And as we have just seen, police actually stops lots of people unjustly, but there is no racial profiling in this. White folks are being stopped unjustly within the same rate as the black ones. So having this idea in mind might make some innocent black people to be hostile and aggressive towards police. And you can find many videos like this online. For example, Ahmed Arbery was extremely aggressive to the policeman.
Keep your hand in your pocket.
I ain't got shit on me. What the fuck you fucking with me for?
I'll tell you why I'm here, man.
Why?
I'll tell you why I'm
Why?
here. Because this area is known for drug activity.
Drug? How the fuck I'm drug attack when I work at Blue Beacon?
Back up.
Check my shit.
Back
boy.
up.
The fuck you talking about?
Nonetheless, he wasn't arrested in this case. So I believe the third explanation is the right one. Now let's look to some liberal places which promotes racial justice and Black Lives Matter. Let's start with the place where everyone is equal. The most liberal city in the world, San Francisco. Let's look at the number of black and white folks being stopped and then do our regular adjustment by population. And what we're gonna get? Oh my gosh, if you're black, you're 3.5 times more often being stopped than if you're white. That's very strange. Maybe this data is actually biased. You know, if you go to San Francisco, you can barely see any black guys in most of the districts for some reason. But there is one district called Tenderloin, and you have lots of homeless there. I believe like 50% of them are black, and maybe they are not counted as a residents of San Francisco. Maybe in reality, if you're black, you're only 3 times more likely to be stopped than white, not like 3.5. Now let's look at the citation ratio. For blacks, it's 55%, for white, it's 71. You can clearly see that black people are slightly racially profiled, not like 2 or 3x. If you compare the ratio of unjust stops, it looks like if you're black, you're 1.6 times more likely to be unjustly stopped than if you're white. What about arrests? 2.3 black people, white people 1%. Again, around 2x difference. Same picture as for red states. Let's do the same procedure and look for the reason of stop. Moving violation. Citation rate, black people 61, white people 72. Which looks like black people are being profiled and 1.4 times more likely to be stopped unjustly than white ones. Arrests, same picture. Mechanical or non-moving violation. Citation rates, black 50s, white 69. So again, 1.6 times unfair for black people. Arrests, same picture. There is no investigation stop reason in this database. Let's move to another city. San Francisco is maybe too special. Let's look at San Diego. We can see that blacks are being stopped 2.6 times more often than white ones. Again, this is much more higher than in red states. But again, maybe it's fair. Let's look at citation rate. Blacks 48, white 59. This is 1.3 times discrimination, which is not as bad as in San Francisco, but not really equal. Arrests, same picture again, 2x difference. For this database, we don't have any reason for stop, so this is all we can do. It's time for conclusions. Police does lots of unjust stops in all states for all races. The ratio of unjust stops shows there is no bias in the red states which we've examined. However, in blue places we've checked, this ratio varies from 1.3 to 1.6 times more against black people. Black people are arrested twice as much as white people across all the places we've studied. And the only logical explanation that black people are more aggressive towards policemen when they got stopped. And the reason of this behavior is not their genes or some special culture, it's just this constant propaganda of Black Lives Matter, that you're always treated unjust by police, no matter what. Also, I wish I could check some data for New York or Seattle, but unfortunately in this database these are either not available or partially not available. Nonetheless, it looks like systemic police racism is not really working in red states. Thanks for watching. Don't forget to like and subscribe. We're gonna do more science on this channel. Bye!